Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. A quick sound check. Am I audible? Great. So welcome to this live session where we'll be talking about the market structure and then move on to what is happening today in both Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures. So let's start with the structure. By speaking about the structure, what do we see? We look at the longer time frame charts. We at Vtrender we have the top to bottom approach, wherein we look at the monthly and then the weekly and then come down to the daily. So we have these monthly report which go out, and we have also spoken about how the monthly references are very important. So Shai has been speaking about the monthly reference of 23,500 in Nifty because that was the POC of June. And June, as we all know, was the election results month, and it was an important profile, whereas the Nifty and Bank Nifty is concerned. So in June, we had this POC at 23535 and VWAP at 23247. So if we go move on to the monthly chart, this is the monthly chart of Nifty spot, and you can see this is the June profile and how we were speaking about this 23500 being an important reference for this month, and then below that this VWAP. So what we did yesterday is we tagged this VWAP, and in fact if you take the 23247 reference, we just held above that and we have left a small tail. And today what we have done, we have climbed back above this 23500 POC. So this is telling us that the June POC and VWAP are being defended by the buyers. So this is what we wanted to see in case we did not see any fight. And today being the weekly close, had we closed below both of these references, it would have been a weak close for Nifty, and we could have looked for a revisit into this 4-month value, which we had spoken about earlier, and this tail in the June series. So this is what we have on the downside. But today we have got a trend day up, which is forming, and we have gone on to get above these and make new highs. But here again, you can see this is the current month's VWAP. So we will have to see how we react at this level and look forward for a good close to the month of November. So this is how we are placed structurally on Nifty spot, and that is the reason we use the monthly chart to understand the structure. So coming to the Bank Nifty monthly chart, I'll just run you through what we have done. We have already discussed about how we formed a nice Gaussian curve in the October profile and how we have done the 80% rule both on the downside and the upside. So what interestingly was happening in Bank Nifty this week was, you can see this LTPO, which is the 19th of November. You can see how this LTPO got stalled right at this value area low of the October series. So this is telling us that the higher time frame value is not letting it enter. So which is why what we did, we saw was we got a dip. And where did the dip go? The dip went on to test this August series. This what you see in the KTPO in the August series, which is 16th of August. We had a daily FA at the lows, which was at 49806. So that FA got tagged yesterday and we took support. And if you see the lows of yesterday, it will match right with this JTPO's halfback. This is the 14th of August where we made a swing low in Bank Nifty spot. And if you see the lows halfback on that day, 49787, this is the exact low we made yesterday in Bank Nifty spot. So this is how the longer time frame charts show us the structure and give us the references which need to hold, and rejection of that longer term reference gives us a good swing move in the other direction. Just like how on the 19th we were holding this monthly value, gave us a move down. Yesterday when we held this halfback, it gave us a move back higher, where even today you can see this is today's spot chart and how we were again stalling right at this value area low. But once we got an entry into it, we have began the 80% rule in this monthly composite. So we have got about this POC of 51239 and we are looking at this VWAP of 51516 as the upper reference. So this is how we look at the longer time frame charts to understand the structure and look for good references to trade out of. So let us now come back to the futures and what we have done today. So let's start with the Nifty futures. I have the futures profile chart on my left, and I'll have the order flow, 15-minute order flow on my right, and we'll see what we have done from morning. And before that, let us make a small review of what we did yesterday. So yesterday was a news based open, wherein the open was very weak and we left a big A period selling tail. But what we saw in the order flow was post the open, the opening bar showed us some good reds. This is yesterday's opening bar, and we can see how we have got some big reds, and we had a failed auction at this point, 23390. Right at that level, we saw the big seller. So it was very clear that the longs were liquidating and the sellers were coming in. But what happened after that initial balance is we did not get any further supply. You can see the cot of the opening bar was minus 8500, but after that the cot became green, and after that we did not get much of supply at the lower levels. So which is why we formed a narrow range. It was more a B-shaped profile, and this POC of the B shape became our important reference for today. So once we get such a nice balance, the next session is very easy to trade. Above the value we are bullish, below the value we are bearish. So today at the open we left an buying tail at previous value. And as I spoke about how important the lows of yesterday was, it was the VWAP of the June series. So when we are holding that, that was you can say the last level that the buyers had got. If we would have broken that and closed below that, especially today, we would have seen much more downside in the coming week in Nifty. But we have defended that, and we have got two A period buying tails. Yesterday we had tails at both the ends. The longer one was on the upside, but that got negated today, and we left back to back A period buying tails. So this was telling us that the demand was coming back. So if I come to today's order flow chart, the 15 minutes, you can see good greens at the lower levels, and these greens was where the auction took support when it gave that dip in the B. And you can see how it was giving us higher highs. The B made a low where we got these big greens stacked together, and then this RBPOC was a 23450, which was held when we broke this VWAP in the D period. We did make a probe below VWAP, but what the order flow shows us is what we need to watch out for. And same thing I would like to explain here. Just a big red does not mean go blindly short. Order flow is a combination of various uh, features, and one of the features is the LLT. The LLT coming is one good signal, but the LLT has to be backed up with an order flow signal also. Just because we got this 4700 red here does not mean we can go blindly short. We needed a IS signal here. That would have told us this is an initiative seller who is coming into the market. But what we got here was a green bar, and the POC was right in the middle, and the close was much above the uh, uh, sell side reference which we had. So this is telling us this is more a responsive player. It could be a long who is booking out, or it could be a rollover. So that is how we need to make use of the combination of order flow and the LLTs. So here what we did today was, you can see how we held this POC. It was giving us higher references, and once we got back above VWAP after that swipe in the D period, we have remained above VWAP, and you can see how we have got the range extension trade. We have made a range extension in the F period with an IB bar. So IBs are what we look for in order flow to take a trade. And once we got this IB, this was open for a range extension trade. 23770 was the 1.5 IB mark, which was our first target, which we were speaking about in the room also. And then you can see this anchored VWAP from 11th of November. This anchored VWAP is where we stalled on the 19th. This was at 23840 on that day. So the highs were right there, and today again we got that anchored VWAP here. But what we saw the anchored VWAP was acceptance today. And because it got accepted, what we saw was more upside in the form of another IB signal, and then we have gone on to almost tag this higher anchored VWAP reference of 23918. So what we have done, we have got a big good up move for the day, and our latest reference would be this IB POC 23760. Holding this, we can expect a close into the highs and this VPOC tag of 23954 if we are able to take off this anchored VWAP from 6th of November. So this is how we look at the order flow and the market profile and look to take some good trading setups. So today it was very clear it was a day to look for long side trades when the order flow was showing us the signals. So here you can see we've got 3 IB bars in the 15 minutes, and now this dip is being taken support above this IB POC, and now we are making new highs as I speak, and we are tagging this anchored VWAP of 23918, and we are looking set to tag this VPOC of 23954. So this is how we look to trade the order flow and the market profile, and market profile gives us the structure and order flow gives us the confirmation of the volumes which are coming in. So this is as far as the Nifty futures is concerned. Let us now have a look at the Bank Nifty futures and see what the Bank Nifty has done. We have already seen how the spot had placed up and how above that 51,000 level in spot, we were looking good for more upside today. So we have the Bank Nifty profile chart on the left, and I'll come on with the order flow chart on the right. And it was the same thing in Bank Nifty futures also. On 19th, we were very close to this anchored VWAP, which was at 51072. And we held that level and we got this dip lower. And in the dip lower, yesterday, Bank Nifty was the stronger of the two indices because Bank Nifty not only left an initiative buying tail in the IB, it went on to make marginal range extensions higher. So just as the order flow charts are holding, I'll just take off this question from Kirti, which says, is IB 30 have any significant as G high taken out? IBs are what we look for in order flow charts. We need IB signals to go long, and once we get an IB, and that is on any time frame, we will have the POC of that IB bar and the low of that IB bar as our references. And we also, along with the IB, we also have the 10 bar rule. So if we are getting another IB inside the 10 bar, then it is all the more bullish. It asks us to stay with the trend. So I'll just switch this to the, so we were just seeing the Nifty futures order flow chart, and we saw how we have got 3 IBs in the 15-minute order flow chart. So that is what we need to look for. The more number of IBs we get inside 10 bars, the stronger the trend is, and the more range we can expect to more range expansion we can expect. So I'll quickly come on to today's order flow chart in Bank Nifty futures, and we can see how in the market profile we saw a move above this previous highs. We remained above value. So in market profile we trade value, we don't trade price. So we will look for what the auction is doing compared to previous value on all time frames. So when we got this buying tail about yesterday's value, we were looking at upside, and we can see how we just moved higher. Although at the open we saw the POC shifting to the top, and we were stalling right at that 51,000 level, which was this anchored VWAP from the 11th of November, and we saw how we got a RS bar right at the when the IB was formed. So which is why again Bank Nifty also made a dip lower, but we were always above the previous day's value. So once we got back above VWAP, we did not get any IS above VWAP, so there was no short side trade today. But once we got back above VWAP in this 1130 bar, this was a clean signal that the buyers were coming back, and our reference would have been this 5700 NPOC, which has been left untagged. So after that, we went on to get this big seller at 1550 at 51090. This was exactly the high we made on 19th. So when we are getting supply at a previous supply zone, it is time to be cautious. And it was definitely telling us to book out longs unless this RS is taken out. So after that, we were patient and our support was this 5900. So from this NPOC of 5700, the support level had gone up to 5900, and which is where even the WAP was coming up to. So you can see how this dip in the 1130 bar held this NPOC. So when order flow is showing us this higher NPOCs being formed and RB signals being held, then you know that the auction is trying to move higher. So this was a classic case. In fact, even in the room, we were mentioning how that 5900 is holding. So now we will more likely take out this 51090. And our objective was this 51230, which was the anchored VWAP from the 6th of November. That was our objective, immediate target. So you can see how in this 145 bar we have taken this out with zeros. So this is a classic case of zeros in the middle of the bar telling us that the auction is starting a fresh imbalance. But then you need to be aware about what time frame that imbalance is coming in and what the objective of that imbalance is. Because if you had taken a long at the break of 51090, definitely you need to part book your longs at this 51230 level, which was the anchored VWAP. So once you book at that 51230, you are making sure that the setup you have taken will be a profitable one, because you will book part and rest you will trail to your cost. So what Bank Nifty did was it left an RS and it has come back to test this IBH. So nonetheless, the outlook is still bullish and we can even look for a spike higher into the close. But this was a very neat setup which met one of its objective. Had it held the cost, we would have held on to this, but now it is held, it is left an RB at this IBH. So we can still expect a spike higher into the close. So this is how we are placed in Bank Nifty futures. This POC shifting higher is telling us that the longs have booked out. The buying is taking profits because we are at a critical level. This is the anchored VWAP from the swing high of 6th of November. So we draw these anchored VWAP so that we are aware when it's a downtrending market, what will be the references, which will be the point where the sellers will look to come back. So which is why we had these 3 anchored VWAPs. In fact, we had 4 anchored VWAPs in Bank Nifty. The first one has been taken out effectively. We are at the second one. So if we are able to form a close above this, then we can look for a test of these 2 higher anchored VWAPs. So this is how we use the market profile and the features we have in the market profile, like these anchored VWAPs. And I also showed you the monthly references we mark out on the spot charts, which are very important swing levels when we need to watch out for when the auction is doing the higher time frame probes. And then the order flow is the one which is giving us the confirmation of the volumes and till when we need to be on the long side and when we need to come out. So that is how we look to trade in both Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures. It is an interesting week, and we will need to see if we are closing above this, we are staying above this IBH. We have a good chance of running up to this 51,372 mark and then this 51,820. In spot, we are stalling at the monthly POC of 51,239. So we need little bit of acceptance here. We have the spot monthly chart, and you can see how we are stalling right at this 51239 monthly POC of October. So we will need to stay above this for a probe higher. So this is how we are placed in spot, and a quick look at the spot chart in Nifty. If we stay above this VWAP today, then we are looking for a test of this 24141, which is the current month's POC, and then that famous rollover point of the November series, which is at 24,400. So let's see how this goes. And today being the weekly close, we will have to then get the weekly references of this week's spot, and need to see how the inventory also is changing as per the auctions. Gives us fresh references. So that the for the inventory we have the wonderful spectrum charts, which is getting refined day after day. So we have a new version of the charts up last evening. So for now, the spectrum range Nifty, as I speak, the upper range has moved from 24,000 to 24,200, and the gamma zero level is moving to 24,000. So in all cases, the inventory is changing as per the auction which has happened today. So it is definitely a good comeback by the bulls today after what happened yesterday. But we will need more confirmation from them in the coming week if we are wanting to get back to that 24,400 rollover point of November. In Bank Nifty, as I'm mentioning, 51184 is the POC of November, the developing POC of current month. We are there right now, and we have stalled at that monthly POC of October. So you can see how these monthly references always come in handy, and it tells us what we need to do when we are trading the lower time frames. So definitely the inability of Bank Nifty spot to sustain above that 51239 was a sign that we need to come out of longs, whereas Nifty still gave new highs after that. So that is it from my side for today, guys. Hope to have some more live sessions in the coming days, and hopefully they'll be of help to all of you. And I showed you an example of how we are using the market structure and the order flow to take some good trading opportunities which come our way. So signing off for today, and wishing you all the best. Have a great weekend, and let's connect again next week with a weekly review of the current week. Thank you for joining in.